Hello, this is the Shel Silverstein author study by myself, Diana Flores, and Laura Sanchez. Sheldon Allen Silverstein, who we better know as Shel Silverstein, was born in Chicago on the 25th of September in 1930. He attended the Chicago Academy of Fine Arts after being expelled from the University of Illinois and later transferred to Roosevelt University to pursue a career in English, but he didn't end up getting his degree after all. While at the Chicago Academy of Fine Arts, Silverstein was drafted to the Army and served in Korea, thus he became a veteran as a result, and which I had never heard about. So for his early career, one of Shel's first published work was in Roosevelt University's newspaper. However, while in the Army, he drew cartoons for Pacific Stars and Stripes, which was the military newspaper. And while there, he also published his very first book, titled Take 10, in 1955. This book isn't very popular. It's not very well heard of, not to my knowledge. This is actually the very first time I'd ever heard of it. So before becoming a well-known children's author, Silverstein's cartoons were published by prestigious magazines such as This Week, Look, and Sports Illustrated. Many people know Shel Silverstein for his work with children's poems, but he actually didn't kick off, as you've seen, didn't kick off his career by making children's books. Not many know that he was also a columnist for Playboy magazine for over 40 years. And while working for Playboy magazine, he was oftentimes sent around the globe to travel and write for them. However, he didn't really like it because he said he didn't really enjoy being a freelance columnist. So Shel Silverstein was a man of many talents. He wasn't just a cartoonist, which I think not a lot of people know. He was a singer-songwriter, a composer, a screenwriter, and a musician. In fact, one of his songs, A Boy Named Sue, became popularized by Johnny Cash, and he actually has other songs that were also popularized by other famous musicians. And to his name, he has about 12 albums. Not a lot of people know about that as well. Interestingly enough, Silverstein never planned on becoming a children's author, however, that actually gave him the most notoriety. So, in 1960, he was encouraged by his editor, Ursula Nordstrom, to write poetry, and thus began his children's literature career. So thanks to her, we have his poems. His very first book was called Uncle Shelby's Story of Lafcadio, the Lion Who Shot Back, and from there he wrote plenty. The most famous one is The Giving Tree, and this takes me into what makes his style so memorable. Much of what makes Shel Silverstein's work so memorable is the use of silly rhymes accompanied by silly cartoons. Now, The Giving Tree isn't silly, but we'll get into that. So although his work mostly was fun and silly, his writing is filled with themes that convey deep meaning and often self-reflection. This is where we get into The Giving Tree. Like, for example, it is about the relationship between a boy and a tree, and the boy just takes and takes and takes from the tree, who just gives and gives and gives selflessly. This book is both sad and ambiguous in intent. And in fact, this book, a lot of people didn't even want to publish it because they thought it was too sad for children, but finally one person decided to actually publish it for him. So thanks to that person, we have the book. So some distinguishable characteristics. One of the most distinguishable characteristics about Shel Silverstein's work is the use of line and black and white illustrations. Growing up, that's kind of what I knew Shel Silverstein for, and they were interesting, they were silly, they weren't too, I don't want to say extraordinary, but they weren't too fancy schmancy, like a kid could relate to them. The illustrations are hand-drawn in what appear to be ink and look like sketch drawings, and most likely they were ink because in the time that he was creating his books and drawing his cartoons, I'm pretty sure he wasn't using any computer graphics. These illustrations are very unique to his work and are drawn by the author himself, as I stated. And I think that's pretty impressive because a lot of times authors work with illustrators. It's not very often that the author is the illustrator himself. So Shel Silverstein lived a pretty interesting life, a very busy life. He worked a lot. And his private life, he ended up getting married to his wife, Susan Hastings, in 1970. And he had a daughter with her named Shoshana. But sadly for him, his wife died 5 years after their marriage, and his daughter died at the age of 11 in 1982 of a cerebral aneurysm. He never got remarried, but he ended up having a son named Matthew who was born in 1984 and is still alive. He's 32. Sadly for the public, in 1999, Shel Silverstein's life ended due to a heart attack. He passed away in Key West, Florida, but he will live on, as he has left an immense, I guess not really an immense, but a large trail of books for future readers to read, so he will be forever remembered. Thank you. Bye.